which now takes us to the Southeastern Conference. Jeez, been going at it for a while here on the stream. But yeah, we go into the Southeastern Conference. We got Georgia beating Mississippi State 41-21. A game that looked like was going to be a little close. Georgia only favored by 7.5 points to begin the week. Moved up to 9. They get the job done there in Starkville. Nothing more to say there as Gunner Stockton doing Gunner Stockton things. A blowout, 49-0. The only FCS team that we have brought up so far in all these games, Ole Miss beats the Citadel 49-0. Ole Miss was favored by 54.5 points, so they technically don't cover. I thought they would have, but it looks like Lane Kiffin took the foot off the pedal there at the end to make that line hold. Maybe there was something there. Who knows? We keep moving to the top 25 matchup between Texas A&M and Missouri. A&M wins 38-17. They were only favored by 7 points. Should have been probably more, especially with the injury news that Missouri has had. And that's kind of why they lost. True freshman quarterback, going to make a lot of mistakes. Texas A&M's defense. I think they scored some points, if I'm not mistaken, in this one. And then on top of that, they set up some excellent field position for their offense. So that's why the result was 38-17. Game in overtime between Vanderbilt and Auburn. 45-38 is the end result between the Tigers and Commodores. Vandy getting the job done. Still in contention to be one of those outside teams. Not playing for a conference title, but in the conversation for a appearance in the college football playoff still. The game in Tuscaloosa, 20-9. LSU loses to Alabama. Pretty good fashion, I would say, especially after the first weekend since Brian Kelly's not in charge, but Brian Kelly was even in charge in the first place? Probably not. Regardless, Bama gets the job done. They keep rolling, and everyone there in Tuscaloosa can say roll tide. The final game to talk about in the Southeastern Conference is Kentucky blowing out Florida. And I might have had the score wrong on that. Yeah, it should have been 38-7. They got the numbers wrong. 38-7 between them and the Gators. It's fine if I got the graphic wrong. It's only the two that we had wrong the last 4 or 5 weekends anyways. But yeah, Kentucky surprisingly beats Florida. I was not expecting this. Thought Kentucky would have dropped this one. Florida bench their quarterback DJ Langway. I think there's going to be some repercussions in the transfer portal when that opens up. Not a good move. I would have just kept him in. I'm like, yo, just keep rolling because we want to keep you here next season. Florida is in a big hole going into 2026. They will most likely be the worst, if not the second worst, or one of the worst SEC teams in 2026. Which is it's not like a crazy shout or like a crazy prediction. This game kind of was just all right, the nail in the coffin. Florida is going to be really bad for the next 2 to 3 years. What was the bald man with the white shirt even talking about? Remember when the bald man in the white shirt ranked Florida in his top 25? What an idiot. Anyways, we keep looking at the standings. Texas A&M undefeated, the only undefeated team overall in the Southeastern Conference. Alabama undefeated in conference, only one loss. We forget about that loss there in Tallahassee because it didn't happen. Georgia, one loss as they've only fallen to Alabama earlier this season. They had that game against Texas here in Week 12. Ole Miss also one loss to Georgia. That's why they're behind the Bulldogs. And then Texas, who have a lot to play for. They have Georgia this upcoming weekend. I'm forgetting who they play the week after that. And then they have Texas A&M. So they have a pretty big mountain to climb. But if they do climb that mountain, boy, it's going to be crazy to see the standings there after the final regular season games are played. We have Vandy there behind them. Still in a decent position. They just need to make sure that they win out. And then Oklahoma kind of played themselves into a decent spot. They have Alabama this upcoming week, so they want to get into that conversation. Not to play for a conference title, but to be in the college football playoff. It's a must-win scenario there in Tuscaloosa. And then we see Tennessee and Missouri basically out, not only for the conference title, but most likely for the college football playoff, as those are the teams to talk about. As you guys